This is the most humble fit I've seen Dvon wear, actually.
Yeah, blessed and highly favored.
At the Champs event?
Yeah.
He came in dressing like he was about to go on a date.
He's wearing $50,000 worth of merchandise. It pisses me off when I run into Dvon in public places with my girl and he walks in with 7 chains that look just like that one. And I'm like looking at my US bank before I buy drinks for us. I'm making sure we got enough.
Look, I want y'all to know that the 2 individuals next to me, they may speak about how much I'm making, but they're not making modest money either.
Don't speak for Adam and Adam only.
This suit is not cheap. Trust and believe. Yeah, a cherry red Range Rover.
Cherry red.
I had some.
Who paid for that?
God bless your heart.
All right, everybody, big news coming out of the Lions Den podcast. We officially have our own merch that we're getting ready to put out. Make sure to go cop yours. Link is in the description below. These proceeds help us produce this podcast, bring on A-list guests, and these proceeds also help Penn State NIL as a whole. Go get yours and tag us on social media. We'll give you a shout out on the pod. Looking forward to seeing you wearing the Lions Den merch exclusively. Welcome back to the Lions Den. I'm your host, Aeneas Hawkins. Today we're joined by one of my best friends on the planet, one of my favorite teammates of all time, McDonough High School's own, Dvon Ellies, Dvon.
Yes, sir.
How are we feeling today, brother?
Feeling great, magnificent.
I appreciate
blessed,
you.
Highly favored.
Highly favored.
Highly favored.
I appreciate you joining me. We've talked about doing a podcast now, I mean, literally probably for years at this point.
Long overdue.
It's long overdue.
Long overdue.
But at the same time, this is the perfect timing. Your career is going really well. You're a senior. Sure. We're wrapping up your days at Penn State. Before we get into anything else, 2023, obviously the defense, top 3 in the country at a minimum.
Best defense in the country, in my opinion.
What has being a leader on that defense been like?
It's special, seeing the leaders that came up when we were younger. I never really thought like I would be, one of those guys to help lead one of the best defenses in the country, if not the best defense in the country. And to have a group of guys that are always on the same page, I would definitely say it's definitely easy. When you have everybody that has the same goals, the same initiative, the same drive, it's easy leading a group of guys that are super talented with the know-how and the will to be the best in the country.
We'll get to the defense. We'll get to your development at Penn State. You've come a long way, and we'll get into all of that. I was there to see all of it. But before we do anything else, I'd be remiss if we didn't hash this out on camera because there are some discrepancies here. Yeah. There's some discrepancies, and follow me.
Tell your side of the story, bro.
Let me paint a picture for the audience back home.
He's going to paint a story for you.
What I'm about to tell you is the truth and nothing but the truth. Nothing but the truth.
Partially the truth. Go ahead. I'm just going to, I'll rebuttal after.
2021, off season, we're heading into spring ball.
Yes, we are.
Okay, it's like maybe February, early March. We're out of walkthrough as a defense. The offense is on the field, still going. We had just wrapped up our walkthrough. Yeah. Now, walkthrough, for those of you at home who don't know, you're not in pads. You're not running anywhere. The title is literal. You're walking through plays and concepts, whatever it may be, very relaxed physically. Yeah. Dvon Ellies was in a playful mood this day. So we're in Haluba Hall. Dvon keeps running his hand through my mohawk. So he had done it once or twice. I let it slide. The second time, I'm like, hey, chill out, putting your hands all up in my hair. I'm having a bad day. So Dvon does it a third time. He does it a third time, and maybe I threw your hand out of my hair a little bit too aggressively. But as soon as I threw his hand out of my hair, now this is one of my best friends. Remember, this is one of my best friends. He'll be in my wedding. Look. As soon as I throw his hand out of my hair, I'm met with a straight right hand down the pipe, connects flush. I'm wobbling a little bit. I'm stunned. Now, again, walkthrough just ended. The whole defense is still around. All of the players that I have to answer to every day, the coaches, they're all there. So quickly in that moment, I evaluate. I have zero choice but to respond.
You have to retaliate.
Gotta retaliate.
I don't blame you at all.
Okay, so boom, I connect with my own straight right hand. Now, this was the hardest straight right hand I have thrown in my entire life. I connect flush.
Straight flush.
Flush.
Okay, side note, Deion Barnes, the new defensive line coach, he always says that Hawk would have knocked me out. Like, he always says that. He says Aeneas Hawkins was about to knock you out that day, and I keep telling him.
So what Deion doesn't know is I literally put every ounce of strength and explosiveness into that punch, and I hit you. And I remember seeing your facial expression and the way you responded, and it was like nothing had even happened. I didn't do anything but piss you off. So I throw the straight right hand, I bend, and I clinch. I'm holding on to his waist for dear life. 2 more punches go over my head. At this point, I'm in a full-blown panic. I've seen Dvon Ellies work out. I've slap boxed with him before playfully. I know that he is a superior athlete in the situation, and I'm in trouble. And I end up clinching you. I tried to lift you off your feet, and you reversed it pretty quick and lifted my hips, and my toes left the ground. And at that point, I'm like, all right, where are these coaches at that love to break up fights? All of a sudden, they want to take a vacation. Yeah. So that story is just to tell you about the time Dvon, for no reason, unsolicited, punched me right in my mouth at a walkthrough.
Now, let me tell you the truth. And let me preface it by saying that Hawk is no slouch. Hawk got the hands on him, you know. He's very gifted when it comes to boxing, you know. One walkthrough. Now, I will give it to him. I was playing with him just a little bit too much. Pause. We get into it. He slaps my hand. And then I'm like, yo, stop playing. And like he said, we shadow boxed in the past before. You know, everything's all normal. It's all cool. You know, this is my dog. This is one of my best friends for sure. He will also be in my wedding for sure. I'm like, yo, stop playing. And then I get into like a playful boxing stance. I guess I threw one just a little bit too hard. And he throws one. And now I'm shocked because I'm like, I was playing. He throws one. I'm like, yo, is he for real? But my instinct wasn't to ask questions. I immediately threw a right hook into an uppercut. But by that time, he had already hugged me and was at my waistline. And I'm like, I don't know if this is for real, but I can't go like that. I was fearful. I didn't know what was gonna happen next.
So a couple fallacies with your story here. Number one, he was playing when he threw the first punch, allegedly. Let me tell you, I almost went to sleep. I almost went to sleep when that first punch connected. It was trouble. And I was in fight or flight after that first punch. So I'm not sure how playful it was, but a part of the story that needs to get told either way is after we get done fighting, here comes Coach Pry, the defensive coordinator, who's now the head coach of Virginia Tech. Now, Coach Pry at this point was not talking to me really for anything. I was a scout team D tackle. We had no business even having a conversation. He comes up to me and absolutely starts spazzing on me for starting a fight at walkthrough, which was crazy because everybody who actually watched saw me get punched in the face for no reason.
And the crazy thing was, I heard nothing from Coach Pry. Coach Pry said, yo, what happened? He asked me what happened.
Yep. Favorites.
And, you know, I wasn't a favorite at the time, but, you know.
It's crazy. It's crazy. Frank, I will say, I remember Franklin hearing about it. I remember walking out of Haluba, and Franklin jogs over to me laughing the whole time. He was so happy that you and I got to fight a walkthrough. You could tell it was like the best part of his day. Yeah. Never will forget that. That's enough about that time that you almost knocked me out.
Yeah, no, and let me also say that Hawk got into it shortly after that with another teammate of mine, Rodney McGraw. I'm just letting you know. Rodney, he's now at Louisville. That's my dog. So, you know, I don't know if it was just me.
No, that was an entirely different set of circumstances, though. And if we had Rodney on the show, he would tell you that he two-hand choked me at a walkthrough right before we started fighting. So I didn't just instigate that one either.
Right.
I did come at Rodney a little bit crazy verbally before that. So I guess I might have two-hand choked myself if I were in Rodney's shoes. But shout out Rodney McGraw. That's neither here nor there. Enough of that. Obviously, your story here at Penn State, your career, now especially has really blossomed. You're doing a lot of really good things on that defensive front. You've played a lot of meaningful snaps in your career, but I want to wind back the clock to when you were a kid, growing up to that home life. I know your dad was military for a long time. So if you can get to your upbringing, how you were raised, and how those things kind of correlate to who you are now, would love to hear it.
Well, I was born in Honolulu, Hawaii. Moved from Honolulu, Hawaii to the state of Washington. And then from Washington, we moved to Maryland. I didn't really start playing sports until I got to Maryland. And the reason being, I had way too much energy from my parents to, handle all of it at one time. And I was a little overweight. And by overweight, I mean like 210, 5th grade.
Hold on.
Yeah, I was obese as a child.
Okay.
To be quite frank. But my dad decided that it was time for me to start playing sports around 6th, 7th grade. So I started playing for the Silver Spring Saints. Now, with
what sport? What sport?
Football.
Okay.
Yeah. I started playing football with the Silver Spring Saints. Lost every single game. Wow. Every single one consecutively. I didn't play half of them for that probably 2-month span before the season started. When I first started playing, I ran with a trash bag and a hoodie on probably for an hour and a half, and then did conditioning with the team afterwards. And I didn't get to play until like week 4 or 5.
Was there a weight limit in the league is that why they had you running like that around the field during practice?
Yeah, I played in the weighted league. You can only be like 190 or something like that, 185, but there was some like leeway. Okay. I remember actually the first day I actually got to play, I was so nervous. I hop on the scale, it say like 188, and I look at him, and he looked back at me. He said, "You're good."
Oh, I said,
"Oh yeah, it's up."
That's a great moment.
Yeah, I got torched that game. So I got torched. I didn't really know how to play football. Like literally, my first practice, I remember it was I always played up. It was our running back Donovan, right? So this is Oklahoma drill.
Okay.
My first ever Oklahoma drill. I remember this so vividly. Where we're in the grass field, lying on our backs. He's like, "Okay, all you need to do is tackle him to the ground." I said, "Okay, easy." Blows the whistle. I'm still getting up while he's up. I get up. I start running towards him with my arms out. He lowers his shoulder directly into my chest and lifts me off of my feet, and I go on my back, and I'm like struggling to breathe. I'm like, and like they're wondering what's wrong, and then they're like, "Oh, he just got the wind knocked out of him." And I'm sitting there, I'm like, I don't know if this is for me. I said, I don't know if this is for me.
That's what people don't realize this. I have a similar first day of football story.
Yeah.
But you don't just because you play at Penn State or you go play in the NFL, it doesn't necessarily mean that on day one, you're not learning how to play football. You're just built for it.
Yeah, no.
So my first snaps playing football, I mean, I had practice. It was my first year. It's the 5th grade. And my dad was coaching too, right? Mm-hmm. And my dad had just retired from the NFL. So his fix for football, like I'd go practice or play, they would film every rep. Every rep was getting filmed. We'd get back from games.
Yeah.
We would break down every play. I'm 10. Every play we'd break down. It would take 2 hours, and he would give me a plus or a minus for every play. So the first game, I had like 2 pluses. I was going both ways. I had 2 pluses the whole game. He's grading my pad level, my toughness. First time I get the ball. It's like one of my first snaps of football ever. Mm-hmm. Get the ball on the goal line. 5th grade, I'm probably like 5'4", 130. Like I'm a bigger kid.
Right.
But I had been watching LaDainian Tomlinson highlights and Barry Sanders. And that's what I thought I was because I had never played. Right. Get the rock on the goal line, try to juke. This linebacker fills the A-gap dog, hits me, quick. Mouthpiece goes down my throat. I'm on the field crying, can't breathe. My dad posts the clip on Facebook.
What?
With the crying, laughing emojis. It was great for him. He enjoyed himself. I don't know. Maybe I need to talk to him about that. I'm remembering that as we're talking.
Yeah, you gotta
Hawkins, it's up for you.
Yeah, you gotta run that back.
Oh yeah, we will. Sure. Well, now he's gonna meet me in the A-gap. We'll see. You know what I'm saying? We'll see how tough you are, and I'll post something on Facebook.
Yeah, and you've lost some weight. You got some.
I've slimmed down. Yeah, I will also say my dad's been back in the gym, so I'm not sure that I can actually whoop him these days, but we'll figure it out, man. I want to spin the block back though to your upbringing. So you were a heavy kid. You didn't start playing until 6th or 7th grade.
Yeah.
What were you doing before the 6th, 7th grade with your free time? What type of things were you even into?
Eating.
Eating. 210 in the 5th grade.
Yeah, nah. I literally just like play video games. I was a church kid. I was a big church kid. I went to church with my family every Sunday.
Okay.
I did the church events. We used to have like events during church, and during those events, the children would put on performances.
Yep.
So I used to do those. Like, we did dances, we did singing. Every Sunday, Saturday was practice for church. Friday, it was like another family event. Like, we would just have like family barbecues and stuff like that. It wasn't anything too exciting, really. I just hung out with family most of the time.
Yeah.
And with the church, I prayed. I was big into church.
Yeah.
Just because when my family was, I didn't truly understand what it meant to be, like a Christian until I got older.
Right.
But that was my place. That was what I did other than sports.
Do you feel like that background, being raised in Sunday school, you're doing the plays, parents are into it. Do you feel like that background and that foundation is still something that carries you today?
Oh, 100%. Like a big part of me is definitely my faith. I go to Bible study with my girl. We go to Bible study, pray a lot. Even during my like hardest times here, especially in my journey here, especially, I've had a lot of downs, a lot of ups, but I always knew to revert back to like what I'm most familiar with, and is prayer.
Yep.
There were times here, especially just when I was a young kid, like when I was a freshman, sophomore, especially through COVID, I felt like I lost myself, where I just wasn't familiar with the person that I was seeing like on film, on the field and stuff. Because my senior year, going into my freshman year of college, I thought it was like, I've always leaned onto my just talent. Like, I never really truly like put a lot of work ethic into anything I really did, just because I was just naturally talented at doing whatever. So when I got here and everybody's talented and I didn't have the work ethic to match my talent, it got really hard. And I didn't necessarily know how to respond. So I was just praying, trying to figure it out. And it just eventually came to the fact, like, I need to grow up. I need to add my work ethic and my talent together so I can become exactly who I want to be.
Yeah.
And that's all through my faith, Like, that's just how my mom raised me, so.
Yeah. What's up, everybody? If you are a college football fan like me, if you know a college football fan that's in your life, you need to go cop this shirt. New designs dropping all the time. It's the perfect gift with the holiday season coming around. If you don't have this thing, you're missing out. Great material, great fabric. I wear it all the time. Go get yours today. You bring up a good point with your freshman year and, obviously being a super talented kid. I remember before you got here, actually, Coach Franklin is like, yo, Hawk, this young guy, Dvon, he's only like 6'1", 6'2", but he can 180 dunk, he can do this, he can do that. And PJ Mustipher, another guy you played with in high school, I'm lifting. At this point, I'm not developing. I'm a year older than Dvon. Mm-hmm. And they're like, yo, you better hurry up and get right because Dvon Ellies is coming. So I knew all about Dvon before he even got to campus. You talk about your freshman year, making that transition, everybody being talented to a degree, and not necessarily having the work ethic to back it up.
Yeah.
So take me through your freshman year. What were some things that you were experiencing? If you got any funny stories, anything like that, Vaughn?
My freshman year, man, that was a doozy. Probably one of my most vivid memories was during camp. At this point, I was running the conditioning test every day.
Let me slow you down. So the conditioning test we run all summer, and you got to pass it before camp starts.
Otherwise,
they're either not gonna invite you to camp, or if you're a guy that they know is gonna be a good player, you got to run the test every day till you pass it.
Yeah, and at this point, I think Tone had just come back from whatever happened a couple months before that. He had just come back, and he was struggling to pass it too. But I guess he passed it by the grace of God. And I'm still running it. It's week 2 of camp. I'm like, this is like a couple days before I pass it. We're in it. Mind you, I do the conditioning test, then it's Lions Den, then it's Lions Pride. Lions Den is, I don't know if people seen those videos with Saquon, he takes the ball, dodges 3 defenders, and then he takes it to the house. The Oklahoma drill, pretty much. So we do that, and then it's Lions Pride, and Lions Pride is a one-on-one, strength versus strength, who's gonna come out of it. I'm I'm dead tired. I just got done with the conditioning test, lines, pride, lines, then.
Back to back to back.
Back to back
Within 30 minutes, it's all, yeah.
Within like 10 minutes. Genuinely, within like 10 minutes.
I remember this day. Keep going.
We're in it, and one of my teammates, CJ Thorpe, he starts talking crazy, doing whatever he's doing in front of, at the time, the D-line coach, Coach Spencer, right? So Coach Spence, and this is my dog, so I'm riding for him. So I'm like, yo, back up, or, stop talking crazy to him. And he's like, what? Oh, we start getting into it. Coach Franklin, being the guy that he is.
He loves it.
Yeah, he loves it. He's like all excited. He sees me and CJ arguing, and he's like, bring it up. If you're going to argue between the whistle. Let's see it. CJ, Dvon. Get down. This is in Lions pride, mano-a-mano, head-to-head. Who's going to come out of it? Young kid. I just got there a couple months before that. He's in his second year. He's in your class.
No, he's third year. He's even older than me.
Yeah, he's a third-year player.
He's a grown man.
In a Penn State football lifting program. And I'm like, okay, I'm a strong kid. All I need to do is stick to my technique and run my feet and hope for the best. I just was hoping I wouldn't go like that. We get down, stance. He blows the whistle. Immediately, I knew the difference. I knew the difference between us. We get off the ball, and like for a second, I'm like, bet I got it. Boom. Next thing you know, I'm like 3-4 yards back. Everybody's like, oh. And I'm like dead tired. I couldn't even really respond. And I'm just sitting there like, I gotta figure it out. I gotta figure it out.
So a couple things. Number one, Franklin is an instigator.
Yeah.
No beef with Coach Franklin. Don't hear it the wrong way.
No.
But he is going to stir it up.
He is a top tier instigator because he likes to see like that competitive nature.
He wants to know who's going to compete.
Yeah.
So I remember my point of view. Mm-hmm. I'm not a vet at this point, but I'm a year older. So I've seen the story already, right? I've seen the freshman who doesn't know when to chill, when to, So I remember seeing you getting a little shoving match with CJ. And I remember seeing Franklin smile. I remember him looking and smiling, putting that whistle in his mouth. And then what happened. But how do you go from that? You get humbled as a freshman. You're still running the conditioning test. You're going through all these different battles. And obviously you find a way to spin it into a really good career and to success. But what did that take to get from point A to point B?
Consistency, and literally that's like that's my word. It's just consistency. Like throughout my career here, that's been my thing. It'll be like one day, and this is especially during my freshman year. I remember we're a D squad, and I guess the offensive starters will argue this to this day, but between us, we used to smoke the first offense as
we had a good group over there, bro.
Yeah, as D squad players. Yeah. But it'll be one day I look like Warren Sapp, and then the next day I look like Radio, and it's like they don't know. Like I didn't know how to make it an everyday thing, but that just started with like my habits, the way I was responding off the field, what I was eating, what I was drinking. Just my routine, my daily routine. That was my biggest thing, was just my consistency. And over time, I gained like a routine. I gained habits, like good habits that built me up, made me stronger. It, made me more knowledgeable about the game, so that way I could play to the best of my ability, fast, and ready to go at any time. It's just I built habits. I made sure I was consistent every day. I made sure I got in the tubs. I made sure I watched extra film, so that way there was no lag in my game. But that's an easy thing to say, but it's one of the hardest things to do, especially in a program like ours that's so regimented on a day-to-day basis between classes and practice and meetings and homework and like your relationships off the field, on the field. It's just hard to find that consistent balance on an every single day basis, you know?
It's tough to do with how much we're already being asked to do as student athletes. You talk about relationships. Human nature is to chill when it's time to chill.
100%.
And we do so much that you would think on the outside looking in that it's enough to get you where you want to go. And I've heard Franklin even say this before, the older you get, the longer you're in the program, where, you know, when you're a freshman, you can come in and you can go from doing nothing
oh my goodness
to you're strong as an ox all of a sudden because you're working so hard every day. But once you get older and you want to take that next step to being a starter, being an NFL talent, all Big Ten, whatever it may be, it's the smallest details.
100%.
The smallest details.
I remember this quote actually one of our athletic trainers used. It's hard as hell to be 99% locked in, but it's easy to be 100. It's hard as hell to be 99% dedicated, but it's very easy to be 100% dedicated. That difference between that 99% and that 100% is so hard that many people just can't get there. I know talking with Coach Manny too, and the way he tells our defense, like, it's easy to climb that mountain, but the hardest bit of that mountain will be when you're close to the top. You know, because that's when every little thing matters. That's when every step matters. That's when the way you see plays develop. That's when little keys like the way the guard sits, the way how heavy his hands are. That's where every little thing matters. But that's where you make your money. That's where everything grows the most. So.
One guy I want to ask you specifically about, and you know where I'm going with this, but a guy who, you know, is don't hear me wrong, he's a very talented guy, and he wouldn't be in the NFL if he wasn't. But the differentiating factor with PJ Mustipher, and I think you'll agree, is that he was going to do everything right, from film to extra reps to how he went in the weight room, classroom. I mean, two-time captain. Obviously, his process, from day one was impeccable. You played with him in high school at McDonough, along with Kurt Jacobs, along with Will Knutson. Were you there with Deni as well?
Yeah,
Deni,
he was a freshman when I was a senior.
So my question is, your relationship with PJ and watching how he worked as a younger player, do you feel like that assisted you in getting to where you wanted to be?
Oh, 100%. Especially in my first year transitioning, going into my second year, Coach Franklin was big on me staying on his hip. That's just because of his work ethic matched his talent. You know what I mean? And like I said before, that was where my biggest pitfall was. And then just watching his consistency, like anybody that knows P knows that his dedication on a day-to-day basis was unmatched. His attitude towards everything that he did, he knew it was going to help him in the long run, so he just did it. Without any arguments, without any, talk back. He knew what it was. He knew what it took. And, his brother's in the league, Sam, he plays for the Ravens right now, and he was one of the highest graded centers in the league at one point. So he knows what it takes. He knows what that's supposed to look like. And P's always been like that. You know, big personality, one of the biggest in the room. And that's just who he was, one of the hardest workers. And everybody just gravitated towards him.
So we normally don't cuss on the show, but I will for the sake of this story. So I remember we're about to run the instructors, and we had already run half gassers, or maybe we did winter workouts, something crazy, but everybody's dog tired. And I had a trick where I would go line up next to PJ anytime we ran instructors, because I knew if I could reach out and touch PJ as we're running, then I'm making my times. I'm not gonna have to go back, none of that. So I swear, that was my strategy. So I'm stressed this day about this test. And I look at PJ, I'm like, bro, how are you doing this? Do you feel ready, blah, blah, blah. He looks me dead in my eyes. He goes, don't believe in luck. I've been on the grind. I'm fucking it up. And then got on the line. And I'm like, this kid, first of all, is a fool. He's dead serious right now.
Serious,
he's not playing one bit. We'll have to bleep that out. But shout out PJ. That's my guy. I would let the Mustipher parents raise my kids right now.
Bro, he used to tell me when they were younger, his dad used to have them go to the park and just run laps. It's like a young kid.
We got a guest question right here from the one and only Adam Brenneman, who looks sharp, by the way. Come on camera, Adam.
Let's see.
Come on camera, Adam.
I'm thinking about something, guys.
Okay.
Here's my question.
Please.
I've seen Dvon a couple times now in the last few months. Every single time I see him, he's wearing a lot of money
NIL,
on
man.
his body.
Yeah.
So what I would ask is, can you take us through everything you're wearing?
Okay.
And how much it's worth? Where the funds came from?
It's like having the police on an interview with you.
No, I mean, more so for the lifestyle. Like I want people to know for the content. Because it's pretty fresh.
It is.
And I've heard that. I heard you're getting the bag.
Oh.
I heard that from a few people. That's a memory.
Yeah, Happy Valley United. Yeah.
So just tell,
Yeah, reach out to me.
What
All right. The watch. I'm not gonna give you everything, but I'll tell you some. The watch is Paul Rich. That's like $700, $800. That's pretty modest. Yeah, it's pretty nice watch. The shirt, OVO exclusive. Got it from
Drake himself gave me that.
No, the store in New York.
Drake called you up and gave you that?
I wish. Hey, call me if you see this, big dog. OVO New York. This was about 80 to 100. I really don't remember. Something like that. Gallery. These sweats about 300, 400.
$300 for
Yeah, you'd be surprised. Air Force Ones, these are size 15, run 110. You know, they went up over the years. I don't know why. The chain was a gift from my girlfriend, so I don't know how much it was. The Cuban, shout out Shop Gold, like 7, 8. Okay. And then the hat is team issued.
800 or 1,000?
No, it's
100. We don't know anymore.
100. The hat is team issued, so
team issued.
Yeah, team issued gear. But that's about it. I'm not telling you how much I make.
Crazy.
Yeah, no, it's not. I'm not telling you how much I make.
This is
This is the most. Yeah, okay. Yeah, you did.
Over under.
No. Yeah, nah.
This is the most humble fit I've seen Dvon wear, actually.
Yeah, bless
I saw him at the Champs event.
Yeah.
He came in dressing like he was about to go on a date.
He's wearing $50,000 worth of merchandise. That would be my guess. I mean, it's nothing to him.
Diamonds in my life.
It pisses me off when I run into Dvon in public places with my girl and he walks in with 7 chains that look just like that one. And I'm like looking at my US bank before I buy drinks for us. I'm making sure we got enough.
Look, I want y'all to know that the 2 individuals next to me, they may speak about how much I'm making, but they're not making modest money either.
Don't speak for Adam and Adam only.
This suit is not cheap. Trust and believe. This suit.
That's insane.
What are those? Are those McQueen's?
The shoes?
Yeah.
They're Oliver Cabal's.
I've never even heard of those. That's how I know it's expensive. That's how I know it's expensive.
That's how you know, man.
You know what I mean?
$400, $300, $400.
Yeah, see, that's expensive.
600, 700.
Expensive.
That's expensive. That's crazy,
really
man.
I don't know. I don't buy suits. I'm sorry. I just don't. I don't get into that.
What type of car do you drive, Dvon?
That was my next question.
Yeah, let's get into the vehicles.
Because here's the thing. He pulled up to the Airbnb. There's no girls here.
Yep.
He's like, you know what I mean?
This is just, no, that's a great point. Right.
He's here dressing up and all his girl ain't here. Like, but what kind of
car is that? A Range Rover.
Oh, man. NIL, man.
Yeah, it was a cherry red Range Rover.
Cherry red.
I had some.
Who paid for that?
God bless your heart.
On the cherry red range.
God bless your heart.
So I'm out and about. It's like it's an off season. I'm out at Champs having a good time. I get a text from my phone. Devon's like, "Are you at Champs?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Come outside now." I'm thinking it's an emergency. Devon's my guy. I step outside. Devon rolls the window down in his cherry red Range. He's got Drake blasting. He's dancing in the seat. He said, "Get in." It was like riding a spaceship. It was unbelievable.
Yeah, no, I got stars in it now too. It's great.
Living a good life,
From the
man.
dealership?
The stars?
Yeah, no, like the range.
Yeah, the Lancaster Mercedes-Benz dealership. Y'all go get your car from me.
It hit my line, man. I don't even need a range. Just get me something.
When I was playing, you should have seen the pickup truck Hack had. That thing was like nice.
He was telling us, Big Green, I think Hack called it, right?
You know they just came out with the Netflix series about what was his name? Johnny Manziel. Yeah, Hack's not slick. He drove that. That was his undercover car. That wasn't. You know.
Hack was getting paid somewhere. I don't know.
Somebody was giving Hack something.
You know. He's not.
You gonna comment on that?
Yeah. That's not.
No, he doesn't.
Yeah, no. Yeah.
You should think how much money like Hack would have made.
Oh man.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my goodness.
Money. Yeah,
Were you getting paid when you were here?
Nah, they were.
You were saying that your beat up truck was an undercover.
Yeah, that was a cover up.
You really had.
First off, it wasn't beat. It was clean as hell.
Acted like that.
Don't disrespect Big Green like that.
Big Green.
Shout out Big Green.
Yeah,
man.
shout out Big Green, man.
We're gonna wrap this thing. Yeah, we got a couple more questions.
I had to find the truth out about it.
That's.
I've been hearing things.
Yeah, nah, you didn't hear that much.
Let's. I want to ask you. We got to talk about it. In my book, and a lot of people's book, you play for the best defense in the country right now.
Yes, sir.
You guys have proven it time and time again.
Yes, sir.
Every phase of the defense, you guys are playing high-level football, draft picks all over the place. How special has it been playing on a group that's so dominant, and how much confidence are you guys playing with right now?
Immense confidence. You know, we've had our ups and our downs, of course, as a defense, and I think people saw it, the Indiana game, and that was just a lack of communication on our part. We know that as a defense, the only people that can stop us is us. And that's the type of confidence that we have as a whole, just against any team, no matter who it is. And that's special, There's not a lot of schools like that. And in the past, our defenses have been really good, but I don't think they've been this good,
right?
To be honest with you, And I think some of our old heads would disagree. This is our group, but I'm just saying, I feel like this group is special. Between Kalen King, Disa Isaac, King Beeman, Zane Durant, Johnny Dixon,
Chop Robinson,
Deni Dennis Sutton, Cam, the list goes on. It's ridiculous, our group.
I feel like the difference is, because we've played on talented defenses. 2019's group, #1 run defense in the country that year. Definitely talented. I would say last year's Rose Bowl group with Tig, PJ,
yes,
that was talented. But I think from a depth perspective,
100%.
like the 1, 2, even some of the threes you guys have.
Between just our ends alone, the Chop, Deni, Adisa, Amin, Zariah, who else? It's deep.
It's very
deep. Mason Robinson, he's a young guy coming up. Jameel Lyons, young guy coming up. There's just so much talent just at the end position. And then when you look inside,
deep.
Kozaya, Zane, Keem, Kozaya, me, it's just
talent everywhere.
JJ Vandenberg,
got the squat record, right?
He's I think strength index, he's the strongest person to come through Penn State.
In Penn State football history, JJ Vandenberg.
Ever. JJ.
And he was the 6th guy we named.
ever.
No, I remember.
Crazy.
So for a while, and we joke about being on a scout team and how my career went, but there was a long time, before you and Keem matured, there was a time where I believed in my heart, I'm like, okay, I may not be the guy here ever, but I can be good enough with the lack of depth that we have to where I can play.
Right.
I can play. I remember JJ pulled up, Keziah pulled up. You and Keem were like that all of a sudden. I remember thinking to myself, I am wasting my time showing up to these lifts and these practices every day. There was just so much depth.
Bro, I remember for a long time, bro, you would just come in, I would try to joke with you, and you would just say, yo, not today. I'll be and I'll just say yo.
Bro, it's so hard. Once you know that it's over with, but your degree, I still a year and a half on my degree.
Yeah.
I'm losing every one-on-one rep. The coaches are starting to talk to me like I'm their friend and not a person they're trying to coach anymore. I'm we got to move on.
No, I got to tell them about this story. I'm sorry. You had just done the voiceover for one of our hype videos. It dropped. Everybody loved it. And we were like, yo, this is really good. I remember you came into the training room one day and everybody's hyping you up. They're like, yo, this is really good. And it was very good.
Thank you.
You're a very talented voiceover artist. I think you should expand your brand.
Thank you.
You walk in and one of our athletic trainers.
Nah, don't name her. Tessa Johns.
Tessa Johns.
Tessa, you're getting called out, please.
She says, wow, Hawk, it looks like you finally found your role on the team. And everybody starts dying laughing because it just came out of left field. Yeah. And at this point, I think you were in that space where it was like, okay, what am I doing here type thing.
What's going on?
Yeah, what's going on? And then she says that. Yeah. And I think that was like the final straw that I see.
Mentally?
Yeah.
Because look, at that point, I'm in there rehabbing my knee. Yeah. I've been in there every day. And she wasn't even, Tessa was not trying to be like funny or disrespectful. She was simply stating what was a fact at that point. Like, Hawk finally is contributing something like to the squad. That was crazy. Yeah. Tessa, you're still not off the hook for that.
Yeah,
we're spinning the block.
Sorry, I just had to say that. But yeah, our defense is crazy. Manny Diaz, I have to say, is one of those special football minds.
Yep.
And I don't think there's many that rival just the way he thinks, the way he operates, and the way he coaches us.
Yep.
Like, he teaches you how to think and why things are the way they are, as opposed to just saying, oh, you have to do this because that's just what I'm scheming. No, he's explaining exactly like tendencies. His tendency is, their running back's tendency is to hit this gap because of this player, and this player. But that's exactly where we want him to be, because that's why I'm sending this corner in. Like, like he's breaking everything down. He explains things to the T, and he's like teaching you how good football should be played. And I think that's also one of the biggest differences in our defense this year. Just his mind and the way he's teaching us how to play football.
I think there are a lot of special football minds that can't connect with their players. And I think I've always said that the best coaches are not always the ones that are being the loudest and not the ones dropping the most MFs and dropping. It's the ones who know football. Their players respect that they know football, and they're willing to listen to them because they know that there's a rhyme and a reason for everything that they do. I've also heard that Manny Diaz gives some of the best pregame speeches known to mankind. Like, we'll have y'all ready to run through a brick wall.
Oh my goodness, he could travel the country and give pregame speeches and make a lot of money doing it. Like, I kind of get upset at some of them just because they're so good. Like, I'm ready to run through a wall right there and then.
What's up, everybody? If you are a college football fan like me, if you know a college football fan that's in your life, you need to go cop this shirt. New designs dropping all the time. It's the perfect gift with the holiday season coming around. If you don't have this thing, you're missing out. Great material, great fabric. I wear it all the time. Go get yours today. The last coach I want to ask you about, and you've seen his entire story. I've seen a lot of his story. Deion Barnes starts as a player at Penn State, leaves football, and he'll tell you the story, was out hustling and bustling, paying bills, and then decided he was going to come back into the college football realm, had his own training after that he did beforehand. And it was clear, even when he was a GA, his mind as a football technician, as a D-line coach, was special. But you've had the opportunity now to play for him as a position coach. What have you seen from Deion that's allowed the D-line to play so well?
He's a technician at the root of it. You know, Deion wasn't always the fastest, so we make fun of him for it because he ran like
no
a
wheels.
5 flat.
Ben told him that.
You know, he was a quick guy though. You know, he'll stick by that for the rest of his time. But he's a technician at the heart of it, and I really think just as a defensive line, we've benefited a lot from that. Especially myself, I will say, my technique has improved tremendously. I feel like, and I would attest that to him. You know, he learned from Larry Johnson, and then he took, which is one of the most legendary defensive coaches.
Yeah, ever, regardless of
defensive line coaches, ever. He learned from him coming through Penn State, and then with his experiences, mixing that in, and then having the group that he has with our athletic ability across the board. All you really need is good technique, and then just let the rest take over. And he understands that. He's a player's coach. He's been there. He's played football at the highest level, and he was successful here at Penn State. He was a freshman All-American.
Yeah.
So he just his understanding of how players think, being a player himself, is something unique and special. Like you said, not every coach is going to be, every good coach isn't always going to be the one that's MFing motherfuckers, but he's not that. He's going to teach you technique, how he understood it when he was a player, and then just how he sees things from his point of view, and then he just lets you, grow and blossom into yourself pretty much,
The last thing I'll ask you, and can you take me back to Coach Scott leaves, the D-line coach. Coach Scott goes to the Detroit Lions. There's a lot of questions about who Penn State's going to bring in as their defensive line coach. I was done playing at the time. I remember as soon as Coach Scott left, I'm like, there's got to be Deion Barnes. It's got to be. And if it's not, then you risk Deion Barnes eventually going to another school and being a great defensive line coach. So can you take me back to that time of transition? Did you guys as players pound your fist on the table at all? Like, Deion's our guy. We want Deion. How did that look?
Yeah, we came together. We told Franklin. Franklin, he was still deciding.
Yeah, he's got his process. Understandable.
He was between a couple of coaches, but we went up to him as a group and just said, like, look, we understand that the choice ultimately comes down to whatever you want, but as players, we want Deion. Like that was our say. That's exactly who we wanted. He knew who we were. He knows us. He knows Manny's defense. He knows how everything should look. And we were like, it just seems like it's a perfect fit, former player. And he gave us exactly what we wanted.
I was about to say, respect, because it's not easy to hire a GA into a coaching role.
Yeah, and then you got guys that are in the league like PJ,
he was at the
Jesse
combine
Luketa,
talking crazy. Yeah,
they're at the combine like, I think Deion Barnes should get the job, and we're like, I mean, once P says it,
right? What's PJ speak?
Once P speaks, is
man, PJ,
yes sir.
Man, I do miss PJ, that clown.
Yeah, that's my dog, man.
He's a good kid.
Good
Dvon,
kid,
appreciate you joining us.
Sure, thank you for having me.
Always a pleasure, man. For those of you back home, stay tuned. More Lions Den episodes coming down the pipe. If you haven't gotten your merch yet, I'm sending Dvon Ellies after you to handle you. Link is in the description below. Go get you something, man. Continue to support the Lions Den, and we'll continue to bring you the best content Penn State has to offer over at State Media.
Yes, sir.
Stay tuned.
Oh, and get my cookbook, too.
And get Dvon Ellies' cookbook, man.
Get my cookbook.
Come on.
Yeah.
All right. Good stuff, man.